Oh, all right, here we go. Welcome to Tapping Tuesday. My name is Fable, and for the next hour, we are going to engage in EFT together. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, also known as tapping. So if that's what you're here for, you've made it. Getting started today was rough. I was so worried. It kept saying that it couldn't save like my live when I was getting it set up. It took usually I let it sit for about 10 minutes before we go live. And yeah, so if you tried and it wasn't there, I'm so sorry, but we're here now. So yay. Um, let's see, I'll give a quick rundown of how this works and then we'll jump right into the tapping. If this is your first time here, welcome. If it is not your first time here, welcome back. I'm always happy to be here with all of you. Because this is a little bit different than a normal tapping session. And if you don't even know what a normal tapping session is, don't worry. You will understand how this works, at least in this platform, by the end of this session. You'll be a pro. But if you're used to one-on-one engagement, it does look a little bit different because I don't have your body right in front of me to read your body language, hear the tone of your voice, yada yada. So what we do instead is we go very broad with topics. And at any point, I have a live chat. You are able to put in suggestions, and I do my very, very best to include them, as many as I can, that are put there. But I will also show you how you can kind of adjust something that I offer to you. These live sessions are for you to get comfortable with tapping, for you to explore your education, your range of what you're able to apply yourself. Definitely when you're approaching something really big, I highly suggest tapping with a clinical EFT practitioner. We do the certification for that through EFT Universe. It's always helpful to have a guide, which is why I'm here. But it can also be very, very empowering to do EFT on your own. So it's kind of, I'm wanting you to get both from here. Here, right now, you have me as a guide. And then I would love for you to take what you do here and be able to apply that with your own knowledge and empowerment when we're not live together. So I really encourage a lot of adjusting whatever I'm doing to what fits you best. So if I use a word or a phrase and it doesn't fit, I want you to change it. I tend to stay in two tapping spots. I go here and I go here. And there's two reasons for that. One, I want you to do what's comfortable for you. I may have a different, usually we start on the hand and we go through all the tapping spots over and over again. That's fantastic. You can do it that way. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But let's say maybe you have a sinus infection or you wear glasses or just touching your face in general is really overwhelming. Then, well, what do? You just don't use those tapping spots. As far as EFT is concerned, one acupoint is all you need. Okay, one acupoint will do the job. You can do an entire session only using one acupoint. Of course, there are benefits to using all of them, so we do suggest that. But in the purposes of, well, I'm here in front of you. I want you to look at me if you feel lost. Okay. Otherwise, if you are really just digging right here and you're, oh, I want to stay here, maybe I'll stay here for the whole session. Great. Please do that. Oh, I tap through all the sessions. I do 10 taps and then I switch and then I switch. Great. Do that. I don't want you to feel like you have to follow my cadence. All right. I'm here to assist, but not to direct or command. As far as let's see, if you have questions about things, I may not answer them just because our time here is short and we want to get to tapping. If you have something you want to tap on, you don't want to put it out there in front of everybody on the internet, that's okay. You can email me both questions and suggestions, and then I can bring maybe both up at the tap. But it's more just so that you and I can have a private conversation. And anything I bring up with everybody, I will bring up anonymously. My email is at the top of the chat. I will also speak it out loud. It is Fable, Fable, at EFTuniverse.com. All right, I think that's all of the rules and regulations of the session. So I'm going to say hi really fast. Then we'll take just a moment to ground and we'll get right into the tapping. Hello, Amanda Jane. Woo, I'm so pleased that you're here too. Hi, Zarina. Yeah, let's get the party going. Hi, Mary. Hi, Dr. Scott. Hi, Hi, Kimberly in Ohio. Hi, Danette. Yay. Hi, Nancy. Hello, Joyce. Yay. Hi, Kristen. Ooh, from Magnetic Island. I've never heard of Magnetic Island. Now I have to look that up. I have not yet visited Australia, although I know multiple people there, and it's on the top end of my list. Hello, John. Hi, Tanya. All righty. I don't have any community emails to share with you today. I have my own personal thought that I just want to share. And it's not really something to tap on. It's just kind of a perspective, an aspect that I want to share with you. I have been doing some deeper healing of my own. I kind of found like a category, like aspects of things that were still live wires on something that I thought I had rested, put to peace years ago. And this can happen, when we are healing. It's sometimes it's cyclical, and it doesn't mean that you've gone backwards. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong or that you skipped anything. I think I've just reached a point in my life where my brain has said, oh, well, now getting rid of this is probably, applicable. And that's not even, that's important. But the point I really want to share is, because I am going through and sorting out, all of these hurt and touchy live wires from, traumatic events in my past, I have been going through some overwhelm. I have been having reoccurring like negative thoughts and feelings in my body that, man, it's been years since I've had to deal with that. Um, and it's put me in an uncomfortable space that it just is taking time to work through. A whole lot of it is just digesting my own grief, from experiences that I just kind of maybe intellectualized a little bit and put to rest. And this is a place where things like EFT are really great, because sometimes it does take just a little bit of time. It's a process, and we don't tap to like, oh, this is really uncomfortable, I just want it to be gone. And when that happens, amazing, like that's fantastic. But if it doesn't happen, then something else, an angle that EFT is great for, is still telling yourself that you're okay. Yeah, this is uncomfortable, this is icky, and I understand that it's important for me to recognize all of this. But even as I'm processing this ick, I'm still okay. And it helps your nervous system differentiate between, processing something that's intense and experiencing something that's intense and you're not safe. Because that can actually make you get stuck again or traumatized in current moment. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share. And the chat's been running, so I'm going to check it one more time, and then we'll get to grounding, and I promise we'll get to tapping. Tanya, John. Hello, Joy. I was a victim of banking fraud. Please, can we tap around being taken advantage of and vulnerable? Oh, Joy, I feel you so much. That happened to me probably about 7 years ago, and I'm still mad about it. I don't understand people who do that. But yes, I thank you for your suggestion. I think that's an important one. Let it go, Kimusabi. Hello. Thank you, Dr. Scott and Danette. Serena, an idea, the difference between shoulds from others versus actually things we need to do. I like this. Like we get feelings that we should do stuff, but really it's just pressures from the world, but not really ours. I appreciate that. I like that one a lot. Thank you for that. Hi, Gregory. Hello, Kristen. Tapping topic was rejected at work after being disrespected. Almost rising to the level of bullying. I'm so sorry. Really triggered my family of origin, betrayal, abandonment issues. World feels unsafe again. I get that. I hear you in that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. Amanda Jane, this has re-traumatized me. How succinct. I need to know I am safe. Yep. Okay. I appreciate that. I can definitely tap around that. Mystic singing plumber comedian. Greetings, everyone. Thank you. Oh, Cedric. Hi, Cedric. And you're very welcome, Tanya. Alrighty, let's get grounded. Oh, and Kimberly, very afraid to take the next step in life. Staying in place is no longer. Anxiety is unbearable. Okay, grounding and courage and sobriety tapping. Hear you. Thank you so much for all of your suggestions. I love it so much. Let's take just a moment to get grounded, and then we'll get right into our first tap. Hmm. I'm feeling a lot of big feelings today. So let's do a little bit of breath work for grounding. This is going to be bringing awareness to our bodies in maybe a different way. Let me know how you feel about it. Okay. I want you to just breathe. Don't do it consciously. Don't take like a deep breath. Just breathe how you've been breathing. I want you to notice if your chest feels tight while you're breathing, if your throat feels tight, anywhere between where the air is coming in and where it's expanding and being absorbed in your body. What does it feel like while you're breathing right now, just when you weren't paying attention? Okay. And now, as you're thinking about that little bit of air that's coming in, I want you to think about if that were a message to your body. What would that message be? Would it be a word? Would it be a feeling? Would it be a color, a sensation? What would that be? Mine is tight. I just heard the word tight in my head as a description. Okay, and let's go ahead and intentionally take a breath just as deep as it feels good to you. And breathe that in and out. And breathe normal. And now just notice your body. Notice if that started to change the message. We're not trying to change the message, we're just noticing. Did it change? Let's go ahead and take another breath as deep as what feels good to you. And out. And now breathe just according to what feels good, but notice from where it's coming in to where it's being absorbed by your body. Is it a little different than the first awareness that we had to our breath right now? Is it maybe a little bit deeper? Is it going further into your abdomen? And select a second message. My message from my body would be relaxing, which is good. That's the one I want to send. Let's do one more breath. Out. And now for this one, go ahead and breathe normally. I want you to choose a message. So with intention, choose a message that your breath is sending to the rest of your body right now. Whether it's peace, relaxation, safety, comfort. It could even be just dissociating, where there's too much to feel, so we're just going to set that all aside right now. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more breath. Breathe in and breathe out, letting that intentional message go all through your body, down to your fingertips, down to your toes, along your back, along your front. Nicely done. Okay. I'm just going to review the suggestions that we have. There's a strong theme of vulnerability and that being a negative thing, because there is such a thing as positive vulnerability, but that's generally not spoken of, and usually only in the context of after everything's made okay. After everything's made safe, then vulnerability is okay. But until then, it's bad. And I think that might be a good place to start. And I might even be able to tie in the difference between shoulds with that. Okay, let's start there. Go ahead and start tapping while I figure out exactly how I want to word this with you. I think I want to be just pretty upfront with it and say, my vulnerability is bad. And then we can unweave why we think that's bad. Okay. So if when I say my vulnerability is bad, that feels true, then that's probably a good phrase for you to start with as well. If it doesn't feel true or it just feels rejected, You could say my vulnerability is complicated. My vulnerability is um, stopping me from progressing. My vulnerability is making me a target. Um, if you feel an intuitive, like, I feel like this is what I want to say, then I would say that is your subconscious brain telling you, hey, I see what you're trying to do. Use this one. Okay, here we go. As I consider my immediate future and all of the things that have to happen, I realize I believe that my vulnerability is bad. Even though, as I consider what's going on in my life, and I partly blame it on being vulnerable because being vulnerable is bad, I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself anyway. Even though right now in my life, I'm vulnerable, and that's not good. I still choose right now to deeply and completely accept myself, even if my belief about vulnerability is that it's bad. Even with people telling me it's supposed to be good, deep down, I think it's bad. Even with that being my belief, I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself anyway. Being vulnerable, bad vulnerability, bad vulnerability, bad outcomes, bad outcomes on vulnerability, vulnerability, vulnerability at home, vulnerability at work, vulnerability inside myself. Even if nothing can shake my belief that this is bad, I still choose right now to deeply and completely accept myself. And I wonder, why do I believe so firmly that it's bad? If what's trending right now is for vulnerability to be positive, and big name speakers are saying vulnerability is even necessary to connect with each other, why would I think it's bad? Hmm. As I consider where I got the belief in the first place that vulnerability is bad, I hold space for myself as I look to understand my own experiences. Well, I must have had a bad outcome. Being vulnerable must have worked out poorly for me, maybe at my expense, for someone else to have something good happen or to put something bad on me. But whatever it was, I blame being vulnerable for it. Because isn't it true that if I hadn't have been vulnerable in the first place, I wouldn't have gotten attacked. I wouldn't have been disturbed or disrupted. They wouldn't have thought to pick on me. I would have been able to realize what was happening and make it different. So, yeah, vulnerability is to blame, right? Hmm. Blaming vulnerability. Blaming vulnerability for my bad outcomes. I wonder, is it fair? Is it fair to put the blame on vulnerability? Yes. No, I don't know. Well, if I'm not sure that it's fair, where do I get blaming vulnerability in the first place? I wonder, why is that what I jump to? Is vulnerability what did the thing, the bad outcome, or was it someone else's bad choice? Someone else's bad intention? That was the bad thing. And maybe it worked because I was vulnerable, but I'm not bad because of that. And maybe vulnerability isn't bad because of that. Maybe the bad intentions were what was bad. Hmm. So if it's true that vulnerability isn't bad, but bad intentions are bad, why don't I feel better? As I consider why this perspective doesn't feel healing to me, I continue to hold space as I explore my relationship with vulnerability. I wonder, in my life, have I had to use connection as a survival tactic? Has it been important that I solve problems for other people when that really wasn't my place? Maybe when I was a child. Maybe it was something that I could have had better boundaries on. But is it possible that I learned a way to find safety in my environment by, I don't want to use technical terms, I'm looking for something more simple. By fixing the mood in the room, by making things better, by seeing how everyone wasn't happy. And I did what needed to be done so that other people were happy. And maybe I didn't get happiness from it, but maybe I got relief. Maybe I got security. Maybe I got safety. And I wonder, in those moments when I felt praised, when I felt successful, did I consider that to be connection? Did I consider my ability to fawn to be vulnerability? I don't know. Maybe this is getting confusing. Even if I can clearly see that there are some things I can ponder about my past and potential connections to vulnerability. What about now? Because now I do have choices, but being vulnerable is still bad. I still have bad outcomes. Yeah, but I don't want bad outcomes. I want to stay safe. Being vulnerable is supposed to keep me safe. Hmm. Even if I'm realizing that part of controlling my environment, part of my ability to maintain peace has been connected to my ability to calm and be vulnerable with others. I wonder, when that doesn't work, is it true that I have failed? Is it true that my vulnerability is bad? Is it true that I did something wrong or I wasn't good enough? Or is it more fair to say the vulnerability that I shared, the trust that I extended, was treated unfairly? As I consider looking at myself in this situation and offering myself an explanation from my own body, I deeply and completely accept myself. I don't like it. I don't like that someone was mean to me, that someone hurt me, especially if it was on purpose. And maybe I do feel like that's bad. Just like getting into a car accident is bad. Just like losing a meaningful piece of jewelry or a gift that someone gave me. While it's true that bad experiences are hard to go through, maybe it's unfair for me to blame vulnerability for it. Maybe it's unfair for me to expect myself to be able to catch every single deviousness that crosses my way. And I don't like it when bad things happen. And that's okay for me to feel. But maybe I don't blame vulnerability for it. Because isn't it true that if someone had good intentions, if someone came to me with a lovely gift, if someone came to me with a really beautiful outreach of a collaboration, being vulnerable is what allows me to be ready for it. And maybe that also means I come across something that isn't beautiful, something that isn't fair, and it hurts. And I have other feelings about that. But maybe as I give myself permission to heal and process the pain of this negative experience, I can also agree to release any judgment that I have. Because isn't it true that all I did was be trustworthy? All I did was show up to the best of my ability. And if someone takes that and takes advantage of me, I refuse to receive the negative associations with that. I allow that to be theirs. I allow that to be their mistake. I allow that to be their bad thing, not my vulnerability. And maybe when I'm ready, I can see how I can maybe adjust boundaries. I can ask additional questions. I can prepare and be on the lookout, maybe a little bit different next time. But as I, right now, continue to allow myself to heal from this bad experience, I release any and all judgments and negative conclusions about myself. Because it wasn't my choice to begin with. And I won't carry the weight of it to try and make it my choice now. I can heal without taking on their responsibility. Being vulnerable, my healing. Being vulnerable, releasing judgment. Being vulnerable, protecting and learning and navigating this important part of myself. And as I give myself kindness and time to work through this painful experience, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, pause tapping and take a deep breath. All right, now take just a moment and think about how you felt when we first started and we said vulnerability is bad or whatever phrase that you used. And repeat that phrase to yourself now and see how it feels. Does it hit the same way? Do you have the same emotional response, like an echoing inside of your body to it? Or is it like, just kind of a statement? Do you feel like a tingling or a flowing in your body? Were you yawning, sighing, crying, stretching, having ideas, feeling more enlightened, feeling happier, feeling lighter? All of those are signs that your subconscious brain heard what you were saying and said, "Ooh, yes, you know what? This is more true. I like this better. Let's rewire according to this." And it will continue to work on that, even though you're not tapping on it anymore. So, congratulations. Alrighty, let's jump right into the next one. Let's figure out what that's going to be. John, could we tap on the idea of deepening our commitment to keeping and reinforcing the outcome of previous tapping? Ooh, I like that. I think was giving up my agency. I appreciate that connection, Serena, and I think that would be a beautiful thing to tap on. Even though I feel vulnerability is giving up my agency, could help you break those two things apart in your brain. If there were numbers, they went down. Yay, Amanda, good job. I feel I need to lie down and sleep. That's a good sign, Dr. Scott. That means that your brain said, we need a reset. This went deep. We just gotta reboot. Oh, Karen, happy birthday tomorrow. Okay. I really like John's suggestion. I think we can kind of broaden that a little bit. And this, the way I'm going to phrase this, it could also tie into, I just want to make sure of the way it was phrased. For Let Go Kimasabi, the sobriety tapping. And I'm guessing that that is more, and correct me if I'm wrong, the ability to continue to be sober than maybe the desire to start to be sober. So that could be an important differentiation on how it's approached. But I want to let's go next to the deepening our commitment to keeping and reinforcing outcomes. And this could be for tappings, but any kind of progress that you've made, even if it's just a thought that you've had. If there's something that it just doesn't feel like it's strong enough on its own, if there's something there, it's real, it's alive, and you're trying so hard to carefully protect it and cultivate it. But maybe deep down you feel like, nope, it's not going to make it. It's not going to make it. I just don't. I don't think I've got it yet. So anything that kind of fits that parameter is where we're going to go for next. See, go ahead and start tapping. I'm going to think about how to phrase this. Let's see, as I consider maybe confidence, permanence, integration. I like the word integration. Going from like an idea, a desire to this is now a part of myself. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to use the word integration. If you have one that fits better for you, please feel free to substitute it in. Okay. So now that we know how we're going to focus on it, I want you to think about what you're focusing on. So think of one thing, and it's okay if you have multiple, just choose one. You can always go back and revisit it and include more things later. But choose one thing that you want it. And maybe you know how to get it, and maybe you don't. Maybe it's something really simple, like I just want to keep my kitchen clean. Or I just need to go fill out those job applications, as I just know that's what I need to do and I won't do it. Or I'm getting ready to go and do, but something that is a next step that you don't feel quite confident in yet. Okay. So go ahead and settle in on what that is for you. And let's get started. As I consider this important aspect that I want to be vibrant in my life, but it isn't yet. I deeply and completely accept myself, even though right now, as I think about this real desire of mine, and I feel excitement about having it, but I also feel worried, maybe discouraged, to trust that it's going to remain. I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself anyway. Even though right now, ooh, I really, really, really want this, but I'm not sure I get to hold on to it in the way that I want. I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself. Well, if I don't get to hold on to it, what am I even doing? What is this even what is this even for? What is it even about? I waste so much time going back and forth, and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm committed. I want this. It's mine. And I'm willing to be brave. I'm willing to be strong. I'm willing. I just don't know if that's enough. I just don't know if that's enough for me to get to keep it. As I voice my concerns about my getting to keep and integrate this desire into my life, I deeply and completely accept myself. And I wonder, what makes it so scary? What makes this so high risk? Maybe it really, really is a matter of life and death. Maybe that's real. Maybe I've just put everything I've got into it. And I'm worried because I don't have the desire, enough desire to start over again. It's just got to work this time. Maybe there's something I've been waiting for a long time. And I believe it's connected to this. And if I get this aspect, then I get that aspect too. In whatever way that I see the importance of integrating this desire, I allow myself to seek perspectives that offer support. Support? I wonder, do I believe that I deserve support as I try to integrate this aspect? Yes. No. I don't know. I wonder. I would really love to feel secure and trust that I get to keep what I found and build onto it. But do I believe that I get to feel secure, even though I'm not 100% yet? Yes. No. I don't know. Okay. So let me get this straight. I have this desire and it's growing in me, and I know I want to keep it, but I don't know if I deserve support for it. And I don't know if I believe I get to have any security at the level that I'm at. So do I feel like it's all or nothing? Do I feel like it's all or nothing and I'm all by myself? Hmm. As I consider how I have defined the stakes for myself to receive this aspect that is so important to me, I deeply and completely accept myself. Well, my goodness, that's a lot of pressure. And that's kind of a lonely way of looking at it. No wonder it would feel scary or like a big risk. It makes a lot of sense that I would be concerned if I could follow through or not. Okay, but how could I see that any different? Because maybe it's true that it is big. And maybe it's true that I am alone. No one else is working on this with me. There certainly isn't anyone else in my body. So, how could I feel different? How could I trust that this gets to be mine? How can I trust that every little bit that I receive gets to stay? Well, if I don't consider it to be done until it's 100% done, doesn't that mean I'm not acknowledging 1 through 99? Hmm. Hmm. As I consider how I can receive incremental value, I continue to hold space for it to become my new truth. Oh, but that's risky to have incremental value because, I might get complacent. I might feel like, oh, look, I've succeeded. I can stop now. I can't feel good about myself yet. It's got to be, I got to run for it. Got to work for it. Got to sacrifice for it. Okay. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But couldn't that coexist? Maybe if I gain 5%, I'm running and working hard, but now it's for 95%. Maybe I'm sacrificing, but I'm sacrificing for just a little bit less now because I've got some already. Okay. Well, the theory sounds nice, but how do I integrate that? How do I really take it from a philosophy to feeling it? Hmm. As I wonder how I can truly perceive myself differently with incremental growth, I continue to hold a space to receive a new perspective of truth about myself. I wonder, what if I took some time to define it? What if I took some time to find a word value that I could give to myself? Maybe partial is a word, maybe percentages could work. But what would feel really good, even if I was at 5% of something? What would be a way that I could instill confidence that what I have done, I kept? Well, how do I know I've received anything? Isn't it true that I feel it? How do I know when I'm happy? Well, I feel it. It's in my body somewhere. Okay. So wouldn't it also be true that if I believed I've gained 5% of my goal, then I feel that somewhere? Then it would exist. It would live somewhere in me. I would be able to ping it and go, "Oh, there you are." So what if I allowed it to be a little bit more organic? What if I allowed it to grow and thrive in my body, in my soul, in my spirit, in my heart, in my brain, in my mind, my aura, and it just lived there? And I just get to check in on it. Maybe I feed it a little bit. Like, oh, today you get a big meal. We went from 5 to 10%. And that's how I can know. That's how I can know it's made a difference. And maybe I don't remember exactly how. Maybe I don't remember all the words or all the steps. Maybe I don't remember the day or the time, maybe even the place. But I can check in on where it's alive in me. And I can have confidence that it's there because I'm here and it's me now. It's a part of me. Hmm. Okay. I guess I could give this a try. But I wonder, what if I check in and it's less? What if the day before it was 10% and then I check in and it's only at 7? Do I decide that that means that it's gone? Well, do we no longer have stomachs when there's no food in it? Or is it just empty? Maybe I can decide right now for myself that when I reach a space, it's mine. But maybe it gets empty. Maybe it just needs to be filled. And that way, as I receive my change, it's mine. Just like this body is mine. There's no difference. And maybe it gets tired, like my body gets tired. And maybe this change needs to be fed and nourished and rested. But just like I don't wake up and check to make sure all of my fingers and my toes and my arms and my back still exist, I can have confidence that what's mine is true for this aspect as well. This aspect, mine. This aspect, a part of me. And as I learn to enjoy checking in on it, and learning how to properly feed and nurture and rest. I allow myself to feel really good about all the parts of me that I discover and that I integrate. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Pause and take a breath. Nicely done. I think just a moment about how you felt and what feelings you had around, do you get to keep this part of you that you want? And think about how you feel now. Is there space in you for it? Is it a part of you now? Do you have that confidence? Are you excited about getting to check in on it now? And if you were sighing, crying, laughing, smiling, fidgeting, feeling good, feeling better, feeling bigger, feeling more possible, all of those are signs that your subconscious brain loved what you were putting out and said, yes, let's do that. And it will continue to do that even though you're no longer tapping on it. So good job. We have just a few more minutes. So I think let's go ahead and do a closing tap just surrounding change and belief and feelings as we're going through all of that. Okay. As I consider the changes that have occurred in my life, changes in the last hour, the last day, the last week, the last year, as I consider how it's going to change still in this next hour, this next day, next week, next year. Some of the changes I'm aware of and expecting. Some of the changes, I have no way of knowing what's coming. But as I consider how and where I exist as change continues to flow, I deeply and completely accept myself. Isn't it true that I myself am a change maker? And maybe I'm not some big, bold uh, news headline, article, interviewed person that makes change in a way that other people even know about. But it's the fact of my existence. I eat, and what I have eaten becomes completely different. I expend energy, and that energy that I expend didn't exist before I did it. And I have impact on other matter. I have impact on my own matter. So while change continues, and it's known and unknown, maybe I can give myself permission to find a flow of safety, a flow of comfort within it. And maybe I've convinced myself that being still and no changes out of my routine and being in one spot is different because there were no changes. But isn't it really true that I did continue to change? And that even if my routine was the same, it fed me in different ways. It built me up, maybe. And maybe the way that I find comfort is different than anybody else would define it. And that's okay because I'm different than anyone else. But as I allow myself to receive the definition of change, I allow myself to have confidence and trust that change exists for a reason. And there are some really good reasons for change. And I'm not responsible for all change, thank goodness. And I allow myself permission to adjust what I do feel responsible for as I better learn where my place in the flow of change exists. And as I do this, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, pause tapping and take a deep breath. Thank you so much for being here with me this week. I hope that you are feeling better in your body. You want to take just another moment and notice. I hope that you feel cared for, that you feel thought of, that you feel important because you are. Um, I hope that you have a wonderful week. I hope that I get to see you next week. And if I don't, just know that there will always be a recording, and I will be thinking about you and sending you positive vibes for however this week is for you. I love you very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.